Hello children, welcome to the geography class. The lesson that I am going to continue today is lesson number 16, Waste Management, Impact of Waste Accumulation, given on page 292 of your book with the following objectives. Introduction, Impact of Waste Accumulation, Meaning of Waste, Source of Waste, Reasons for accumulation of waste in urban cities, spoilage of landscape, pollution, impact on human and environment, meaning of pollution, pollutants, types of pollution like air, water and soil pollution, air pollution, its source, its common hazards of air pollution, table 16.1 related to some important air pollutants, their anthropogenic sources and health effects, water pollution, its source, some effects of water pollution on the environment and human life, impact of water pollution on life, oil spills, its effect on marine life, oil slick, soil pollution, its sources, soil pollutants, biomagnification and soil pollution, health hazards caused by waste, effects of waste on aquatic life, fresh and marine life and terrestrial life. Earlier we have discussed the impact of waste accumulation with the following objectives: meaning of waste, sources of waste, reasons for accumulation of waste in the urban cities, spoilage of landscape, pollution, impact on human and environment, meaning of pollution, meaning of pollutants, types of pollution, air, water and soil, air pollution, its source, some common hazards of it, table 16.1 related to some important air pollutants, their anthropogenic sources and health effects. Now, my today's topic is water and soil pollution, given on page number 295 to 297 of your textbook with the following objectives: water pollution and its sources, effects of water pollution on the environment and human life, eutrophication, its cost, its effects, oil spills, its effects on the marine life, soil pollution, its sources, some common soil pollutants, biomagnification and soil pollution. But before that, let us recall impact of waste accumulation, air pollution and its hazards with the help of few terms and cross question. Terms: number 1, waste; number 2, biodegradable waste; number 3, spoilage of landscape; number 4, air pollution; number 5, primary pollutants; number 6, secondary pollutants; number 7, acid rain; number 8, global warming; number 9, ozone layer; number 10, smog; number 11, London type of smog; number 12, photochemical smog. Now cross questions. List some sources of waste generation. Why are the major cities facing the problems of waste accumulation? How does spoilage of landscape affect the environment? How can we prevent the spoilage of landscape? What are pollutants? List the 2 main types of pollutants with example. List some common hazards of air pollution. Explain in brief the process of acid rain. List some harmful effects of acid rain. How is global warming caused? List some gases that are responsible for global warming. How is ozone layer acting as a major factor in making life possible on the earth? Mention some of the harmful effects of ozone depletion. When and why was the word smog used for the first time? How is smog caused? Mention the 2 types of smog. What leads to the formation of London type of smog? What are the harmful effects of London type of smog? What is the other name for London type of smog? What leads to the formation of photochemical smog? What are the harmful effects of London type of smog? List some major air pollutants. State the harmful effect of carbon monoxide on the human beings. Now let us proceed to our main topic, that is water pollution. Now, as we know, comprising over 70% of the Earth's surface, water is undoubtedly the most precious natural resource that exists on our planet. Without the seemingly invaluable compound comprised of hydrogen and oxygen, life on Earth would be non-existent. That is, life wouldn't be possible without water and oxygen. It is essential for everything on our planet to grow and prosper. Although we as humans recognize this fact, we disregard it by polluting our rivers, lakes, and oceans. Subsequently, we are slowly but surely harming our planet to the points where organisms are dying at a very alarming rate. Now, what is water pollution? Thus, water pollution occurs when energy and other materials are released into the water, contaminating the quality of it for other uses. Now, what are the different causes of water pollution? Water pollution is caused due to marine dumping, nuclear waste, industrial waste, oil pollution, sewage, and storage leaks. Before proceeding further with the topic, let us go through various technical terms which are covered in our today's topic. Number 1, water pollution. Water pollution is the introduction of chemical, physical, or biological material that degrades the quality of water and affects the organisms living in it. Water pollutant, any chemical that changes the color and odor, that is smell, of water, uses oxygen in the water completely and affects the well-being of the living organism, is called as a water pollutant. Sewage. Sewage is the waste matter such as feces or dirty water from homes and factories which flows away through sewers. Eutrophication. Eutrophication is the process of depletion of oxygen from water bodies occurring either naturally or due to human activities. Next is Minamata Disease. Chronic poisoning by alkyl mercury compounds from industrial waste characterized by impairment of brain functions such as speech, sight, and muscular coordination. Oil spills. An oil spill is the release of a liquid petroleum hydrocarbon into the environment, especially the marine ecosystem, due to the human activity and is a form of pollution. Oil slick. The thin layer of oil on the surface water is called an oil slick. Next is soil pollution. Soil pollution is defined as the presence of toxic chemicals in soil in high concentration to pose a risk to human health or the ecosystem. Biomagnification. The term biomagnification means increasing concentration of various toxic substances along the food chains. Pathogenic organisms. An organism capable of causing disease in its host, that is an animal, plant, or a person, that provides a home for another organism like a parasite. Now let us go through the effects of water pollution in detail. Effects on the environment. The water becomes toxic, that is, it becomes poisonous. Then thermal heating is caused due to the water pollution. Other sources of water are also polluted. Then effects on human. Humans are caught by the diseases caused by the drinking contaminated water, swimming in polluted water, contact with chemically polluted water. Now effects on animals. 200 turtles in Australia's surrounds waters die each year due to the intake of the polluted water. Effects on birds and mammals. Birds and mammals become coated with oil and die because of eating plastics. Sewage is the wastewater released by homes, industries, hospitals, etc. Sewage is a liquid waste. Untreated sewage water in areas can contaminate the environment and cause diseases such as diarrhea. Sewage in developed countries is carried away from the home quickly and hygienically through sewage pipes. Sewage is treated in water treatment plants and the waste is often disposed into the sea. Now, a very important term which is used in this chapter, and it is very important effect of water pollution on the environment, that is eutrophication. Eutrophication derives from the Greek word eutrophos, meaning nourished or enriched. Eutrophication refers to the addition of artificial or non-artificial substances such as nitrates and phosphates through fertilizers or sewage to a freshwater system. Now, what is it? Well, eutrophication is the depletion of oxygen in lakes, rivers, and oceans and can be very harmful to the environment. This build-up of algae prevents oxygen and sunlight from entering the water. This green part on the water is algae, which is present in the water on the upper layer of the water and prevents the oxygen and sunlight from entering into the water. Oxygen is needed by most organisms living in water. When the supply decreases, it becomes harder for them to survive. Now, this is the Freshwater Food Web, showing tertiary consumers, that is large fish such as trout, and secondary consumers such as small fishes, primary consumers like zooplanktons and small insects, primary producers, and their main source is sun. So this is the freshwater food web. The sun is providing energy to the primary producers. Then primary producers are consumed by the primary consumers. Then from primary consumers, the food web continues to the secondary consumers. Then from secondary consumers, it continues to the tertiary consumers. Industrial effluents. The industrial wastes are discharged in the adjoining rivers and the streams through flush lines of factories. Pollutants from industries causing serious health impacts on humans are certain heavy toxic metals like arsenic, lead, aluminium, cadmium, and mercury. Heavy metals like lead, mercury, iron, cadmium, aluminium, and magnesium are present in water sources. In these metals are present in the sediments. They reach the food chain through plants and aquatic animals. This causes heavy metal poisoning in the water. You can see this process clearly through this picture. Now, introduction to waste. Minamata disease, a toxic disorder of CNS. Let us know about it. This disease occurred in Minamata Bay. Mercury was in the waste product dumped into Minamata Bay on a massive scale by a chemical plant. The mercury contaminated fish living in Minamata Bay, in all 900 people died and 2,265 people were certified as having directly suffered from mercury poisoning. It is now known as Minamata disease. Heavy rain carries up dirt and silt and deposit them into the water. If the dirt and silt settle in the water body, then these sediments prevent sunlight from reaching the aquatic plants as they clog the way of sunlight to penetrate deep into the water inside. If the sunlight can't reach the plants, they perish. These sediments also clog up fish gills and suffocate organisms that live on the bottom of the body of the water. That is their level of oxygen decreases and they die due to the suffocation. If oil is spilled on the water due to accident, the effects on the ecosystem and the components are harmful. Many animals get destroyed in case they swallow oil. Now, oil spill is the most common way to pollute the ocean. In this picture, you can see that a ship loaded with oil came into the water and it polluted the blue water and turned it into black. The fishes living in the black water died due to the layer of the water which prevented the supply of oxygen to the fishes and hence led to their death. Now let us read it from your book. Come to page number 295 of your book, Water Pollution. Water pollution. Any chemical that changes the color and odor, that is smell of water, uses oxygen in the water completely and affects the well-being of the living organism is called as a water pollutant. So children, what is water pollutant? Any chemical that changes the color and odor of water, uses oxygen in the water completely and affects the well-being of the living organism is called as a water pollutant. When water gets into water bodies like ponds, lakes, rivers and groundwater, they infect the environment and human life. The example as are follow. Number 1, sewage. Disposing of sewage waste is a major problem. In the developing countries, lack of basic sanitation, that is condition relating to public health, especially provision of clean water and adequate disposal, is termed as the sanitation. The proper lack of basic sanitation affects people's immediate environment and leads to water-related illness such as diarrhea. Eutrophication. Water pollution gives use to eutrophication. Now what is this eutrophication? I have earlier also discussed and shown you also in the previous slides. Eutrophication is the process of depletion, that is getting less or decreasing in quantity of oxygen from water bodies occurring either naturally or due to human activities. Now, the process of eutrophication takes place due to introduction of nutrients and chemicals through discharge of domestic sewage, that is waste from household operations. Industrial effluents, that is the liquid waste from the factories, and fertilizer from agriculture feeds. Algae and phytoplankton. Phytoplankton, an organism that has no roots, stems, that is called as a algae, and phytoplankton consists of microscopic plants. Use carbon dioxide and organic nitrogen and phosphates from water as food. They serve as food for microscopic animals, zooplanktons. Small fishes feed on these zooplanktons and large fish in turn consume this small fish. In this way, a food chain is carried out from the basic toxin element which is consumed first by the zooplanktons, then these zooplanktons are consumed by the small fishes. These small fishes are consumed by the big fishes. Big fishes are consumed by men, and in this way a contamination of toxic elements goes on transferring through the food chain, leading to the hazardous effects. If oxygen, light and heat into the water body is reduced, it causes death of most of the aquatic organisms, as oxygen is must for all the living beings to survive. Due to eutrophication, plants rot and fish die due to lack of oxygen. When a stream of hot water falls into the cold water of a river, its temperature increases and the quantity of dissolved oxygen in water decreases. Due to temperature rise, the breathing rate of animals increases. Pollutants from industries which are released in water such as arsenic, lead, mercury, fluorides, etc. have serious health impacts on humans. I have already discussed its impacts in the previous slides. Methyl mercury, like other heavy metals, is very toxic in nature. That is, it is very poisonous. In 1993, contaminated, that is having made impure water containing methyl mercury cause serious health impact in Minamata. I have already told you and shown the location of Minamata in the previous slides. Many fishes who consumed fish, crabs, etc. containing methyl mercury developed a crippling and often fatal disease that is causing death called Minamata disease. Many people lost their life and others were injured. These are the harmful effects of Minamata diseases. Infectious, that is, caused by pathogenic organisms such as worms, viruses and bacteria from infected organisms as well as human and animal waste are responsible for waterborne diseases. Now, what are these waterborne diseases? Waterborne diseases is the illness caused due to contaminated water. Now, impact of water pollution on life. Almost 80% of our health problems are because of consuming polluted water. As you can see in this picture, the child is picking up the contaminated water. Water pollution, bacteria and virus present in the polluted water can cause a wide variety of stomach ailments. Now, what do you mean by ailments? Ailment means minor illnesses, that is छोटी-छोटी बीमारियां such as gastroenteritis, that is inflammation of stomach and intestine. It is very common these days due to the intake of the poisonous or polluted water. Diarrhea, liver diseases, etc. Various types of bacteria and parasites contaminate the water, that is, they make the water dirty. The acidity in water is hazardous, that is dangerous to marine life. Excessive CO2 and chlorine in water kills fish. The contaminated waste reach into groundwater or flow into the neighboring water. The leachate, that is waste percolated through solids. Farm waste dumps carry residues, that is leftovers of insecticides. Insecticides are the chemicals used to kill the insect. Herbicide, a substance used to destroy unwanted vegetation. Pesticides, chemicals used to kill the pest, and other chemicals. They also include animal waste, which is hazardous for human and animals. That is, it is dangerous both for human as well as animals. Now let us proceed further. Oil spills. Oil spills are hazardous, that is dangerous for marine life, as oil being viscous, that is thick in nature, does not mix in water. Hence it floats on water and the marine life gets suffocated, that is feeling trapped in absence of air. The thin layer of oil on the surface water is called an oil slick. So children, what is oil slick? The thin layer of oil on the surface water is called as an oil slick. Then most of the components of oil are toxic, that is poisonous, and present a particular hazard to birds and mammals, that is they are dangerous. Now this is the picture of oil spill given in your book. See, the blue water of this water body has turned into black due to the oil spills. Now let us proceed to another main topic of today, that is soil pollution. Now what is soil pollution? Soil pollution may be defined as the contamination of soil by human and natural activities which may cause harmful effects on living beings. Now, effects and sources of soil pollution. The first main source of soil pollution is industrial waste. Its sources are pulp and paper mills, chemical industries, oil refineries, sugar factories, tanneries, that is where the leather is tanned, textile, steel, fertilizers, etc. Harmful effects of it are affect and alter the chemical and biological properties of soil. Hazardous chemicals enter into human food chains from the soil and finally lead to serious effects. It may also cause the death of the humans or the animals or the plants. Urban waste, that is the waste from the cities. Sources and effects: plastics, glasses, metallic cans, fibers, papers, rubbers, street sweepings, and other discarded manufactured products. These are also very dangerous. Now, soil pollution is also caused due to the spray of the fertilizers, insecticides, and pesticide into the soil. Then, soil pollution may also be caused due to dumping of plastics, glasses, and thermocol in the soil, as you can see in this picture. Now, what are the harmful effects of soil pollution? Harmful substances reach the groundwater and make it unsuitable for human use. As you can see in this picture, the harmful substances through the soil is entering into the water body, and that water is drawn out by a man through the water pump and intake. When he will consume this water, obviously it will lead to the waterborne diseases in that man. Next is animals. Those who eat polluted plants intake all the pollution those plants have accumulated. So it may also affect their life. In some cases, it may lead to their death even. Next is, humans can be affected indirectly due to bioaccumulation or food poisoning. Soil pollutants can cause skin diseases, muscular blockades, and central nervous system disorders. Now, another important term which is used in this chapter is biomagnification. Biomagnification is the increasing concentration of a substance such as toxic chemical in the tissues of organism at successively higher levels in a food chain. Now you can see in this picture that biomagnification, increase in concentration of harmful substances in the environment as they pass through successive trophic levels. You can see these trophic levels in this picture. First of all, in this process, first of all, the toxic chemicals are consumed by the small organisms and microorganisms present in the water. Through the water, it goes into the zooplanktons. From the zooplanktons, it goes to the small fishes that consume zooplanktons. Then it moves to it. Then it is consumed. Small fishes are consumed by the big fishes, who intake it, and thus the concentration of toxic substances goes from small fishes to big fishes. Then these big fishes are consumed by cranes, and the concentration of the toxic substances move to the cranes, and thus the concentration of toxic substances goes on at different trophic levels, and this increase in concentration of harmful substances is known as biomagnification. In this picture, you can see very clearly again the process of biomagnification. Biomagnification is usually caused due to the harmful toxic substances like DDT, aldrin, dieldrin, mercury, lead, and radioactive substances like strontium. Now, you can see in this picture the toxic water is consumed by the zooplankton. Thus, the concentration of toxic substances goes on to zooplanktons. These zooplanktons are consumed by small fishes, and thus the concentration of toxic substances moves to small fishes. These small fishes are further consumed by the large fishes. Thus the concentration of toxic substances present in the small fishes moves to large fishes. These large fishes are consumed by the flesh-eating birds whose prey are the large fishes. Thus, the concentration of toxic substances takes place in various organisms, and this concentration of toxic substances from the organisms through the food chain is called as biomagnification. If the toxic chemicals and materials like dangerous heavy metals leach into groundwater, it may contaminate the groundwater, and this is called as leachate. The more toxic contaminants in the soil, the higher the level of toxic particles and foul gases emitted to the atmosphere. Higher concentrations of either metal may cause damage to the developing brains of young children. Consumption of plastics may lead to the death of the animals. Now let us read the topic soil pollution from your book. Soil pollution usually results from the disposal, that is getting rid of solid and semi-solid waste in agriculture practices, industrial processes, and in sanitary habits. Sanitary habits here refers to the conditions affecting health with reference to cleanliness. Fallout from atmospheric pollution also contributes to soil pollution. The problem of land pollution differs from water and air pollution in the respect that soil pollutants remain in place for relatively longer periods. Direct pollution of land by pathogenic organisms like insects, worms, bacteria also increases toxicity, that is amount of poison in soil. Microorganisms enter the food chain or water and are consequently, that is in respect to ingested by them, that is consuming in danger, that is acting as a toxic drinks. Soil pollutants include fertilizers and pesticides. These chemicals remain in soil for a long time, continuously contaminating the topsoil and groundwater. Now in figure 16.11, industrial waste. The industrial wastes are far more polluting than the human waste. They send toxic chemicals, oil oxides of sulfur and nitrogen into water. These pollutants lead to acid rain and thermal pollution that threaten both animal life and plant life. The garbage, untreated sewage, mining waste, industry effluents, that is liquid waste containing chemicals, and nuclear waste, that is radioactive waste, also pollute the soil and may endanger, that is risk, life of humans, animals and insect alike. As you can see in your figure 16.10 and 16.11, which we have discussed right now. Now next is biomagnification and soil pollution. The term biomagnification means increasing concentration of various toxic substances along the food chain. It occurs because toxic effluents, that is poisonous liquid phase from industries, are released into water and soil. They are deposited in the tissues of terrestrial, that is living on the earth, terrestrial plants, and aquatic organisms, that is living in water or related to water. This is the picture of biomagnification given in your book. Now, figure 16.13. Toxic effects of chemicals. The forests are damaged by the effects of acid rain. We have already discussed in the previous part of this lesson the acid rain and its harmful effect. It can also kill fish and other animals in rivers and lakes. It causes damage to statues and the stonework of buildings. I have already shown you in the previous part of this chapter, previous video of this chapter, the acid rain and its harmful effects on statues, monuments, etc. It eats away rocks. These organisms in the plants are consumed by the other organisms, as I've already shown you the food chain, thus increasing the concentration of each trophic level as they move up the food chain. That is a position. Trophic level here refers to the position in a food web. The disease affects the brain, causing insanity, that is mentally ill, and death as a result of pollution of water by industrial effluents containing methyl mercury. So children, at the end, I hope that through this video you have learnt about the water pollutant, various water pollutants, the effects of water pollution on human life, animal life, plant life, including the important terms, that is sewage, eutrophication, the harmful effects of eutrophication, impact of water pollution on life, oil spill, oil slick, soil pollution, causes of soil pollution, sources of soil pollution, harmful effects of soil pollution on plants, aquatic life, terrestrial life, biomagnification and soil pollution. Thank you and have a nice day.